Sarah and Daniel had the kind of marriage others envied. From the outside, their life appeared picture perfect: a beautiful home in the suburbs, candlelit dinners, spontaneous weekend getaways, and laughter that echoed through their halls. Sarah often found herself thinking how lucky she was to have a husband like Daniel, kind, attentive, and devoted. They had met in the most romantic way, an encounter straight out of a love story. Over the years, their bond had only deepened, built on trust, shared dreams, and an unspoken promise to stand by each other no matter what. Friends admired their relationship, often commenting on how they were the perfect match. Sarah couldn't help but agree. Every morning, Daniel would wake her with a kiss before heading to work, whispering how much he loved her. In the evenings, he'd return home with a bouquet of her favorite flowers or surprise her with little thoughtful gestures. He was the man who knew her coffee order by heart, who held her hand in crowded places, who could make her laugh even on her worst days. But perfection has a way of blinding us. Beneath this flawless exterior, hidden just beneath the surface, were secrets Sarah had never imagined, and soon she would stumble upon something that would shatter her world forever. At first, Sarah dismissed the signs as nothing more than quirks of a busy life. Daniel had always been dedicated to his work, often staying late at the office or taking calls at odd hours. But lately, something felt off. It started with the late-night phone calls. Daniel would step out of bed, whispering into the phone in hushed tones. When Sarah asked who it was, he'd brush it off. Just a work call, nothing important. But the calls kept coming, always when he thought she was asleep. Then there were the unexplained absences. He would say he was running errands, but sometimes he'd be gone for hours. When she asked, his answers felt vague, rehearsed. Traffic was bad. Got caught up at work. Just needed some air. One evening, while tidying up, Sarah found something strange: a locked drawer in Daniel's desk. He had never kept anything locked before. Curiosity gnawed at her, but she told herself she was overthinking. Until one night, when Daniel left his briefcase open. A single sheet of paper had slipped out, half hidden under the table. Sarah picked it up, her heart pounding. It wasn't a work document. It wasn't even addressed to Daniel. It was a letter, cryptic, urgent, and signed by a name she didn't recognize. A cold shiver ran down her spine. Something was wrong, and she was about to find out exactly what. Sarah hadn't planned on snooping, but when she picked up the fallen letter from Daniel's briefcase, she felt a strange pull, an instinct telling her this was important. The envelope was plain, unmarked except for Daniel's name, written in neat but unfamiliar handwriting. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded the letter inside. The words were brief, but their meaning was chilling. Time is running out. We need to meet. You know where. Don't make me come looking for you. No signature, no date, no return address, just a warning, laced with urgency and an unspoken threat. Sarah's mind raced. Who had sent this? And why was Daniel hiding it? She tried to convince herself it was nothing, maybe a work matter, an old friend, a misunderstanding. But deep down, she knew better. That night, she placed the letter back where she found it, careful not to disturb anything. She watched Daniel more closely, searching for answers in his face, his movements. But he acted as if nothing was wrong. If he was keeping secrets, she was determined to uncover them. And if this letter was a warning, she had no idea how dangerous things were about to become. Sarah couldn't shake the unease settling in her chest. That letter, its urgency, its secrecy, wasn't something she could ignore. And if Daniel wasn't going to tell her the truth, she had no choice but to find it herself. She started small, searching through old files and drawers when he wasn't home. But Daniel was careful, too careful. There were no old photo albums, no childhood mementos, not even a single document predating their marriage. It was as if his life before her simply didn't exist. Determined, she took a risk. She waited until Daniel was asleep, then unlocked his phone using his fingerprint. Heart pounding, she scanned through his emails, messages, call logs, nothing suspicious. But then, in a hidden folder within his photo gallery, she found something that made her blood run cold. A series of old photographs, Daniel, younger, with a different haircut, standing beside people she didn't recognize. In some, he wore a military uniform. In others, he was with a woman Sarah had never seen before. But the most unsettling part? He wasn't Daniel in these photos. In every caption, in every document she found buried deep in his phone, he had a different name, a name she had never heard before. Sarah's hands shook as she set the phone down. The man she had married wasn't who he claimed to be. Daniel had a past he had erased. And now, she needed to find out why. Sarah's world was unraveling before her eyes. The man she loved, the man she thought she knew, was a ghost, a carefully constructed illusion. But what was he hiding? And more importantly, why? Determined to uncover the truth, she dug deeper. She searched their home in places she had never thought to look before. Inside old books, beneath loose floorboards, even in the attic. Then, tucked away in a forgotten box behind old winter coats, she found it. A second passport. Different name, different identity. Her hands trembled as she flipped through it. The photograph was Daniel's, but the name on the passport wasn't. Beneath it, she found more. A burner phone with no contacts, a bank statement from an account she didn't recognize, and newspaper clippings about a man who had mysteriously disappeared years ago. And then, at the very bottom, an old yellowed file marked classified. She hesitated, but curiosity overpowered her fear. Inside were reports, intelligence documents, evidence that Daniel had been involved in something far beyond a normal life. Government agencies, coded messages, references to operations she didn't understand. Words like espionage, double agent, and compromised jumped out at her. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Daniel wasn't just hiding a past, he was running from it. And now, she wasn't sure if she was sleeping next to a hero or a fugitive. Sarah couldn't keep quiet any longer. The weight of the secrets, the lies, it was suffocating her. That evening, as Daniel walked through the door, she was ready. The classified file lay on the table, along with the passport and burner phone. There was no turning back now. Daniel froze the moment he saw them. His usual warmth disappeared, replaced by something colder, calculating. "What is this?" he asked, his voice steady but laced with something unspoken. "You tell me," Sarah shot back. "Who are you? Because I don't think I've ever really known." For a moment, Daniel didn't move. Then he laughed, a short, dry chuckle. "Sarah, this is ridiculous. Where did you even find this?" "You're lying," she accused, stepping closer. "Late-night calls, missing hours, a second passport, the letter. You've been living a double life, haven't you?" His expression darkened. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Then tell me," she snapped, her voice breaking. "Because right now, I don't know if I'm married to a spy, a criminal, or a complete stranger." Daniel exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "Sarah, listen to me. Whatever you think you found, it's not what it looks like." "Then explain it." He didn't. Instead, he did something unexpected. He stepped toward her, reached out, and gently took her hands. His grip was firm but not forceful. His eyes, usually so open, were unreadable. "I love you," he said softly, "but there are things I can't tell you, for your own safety." A chill ran through Sarah. "My safety?" "Daniel, what have you done?" For the first time, his mask cracked. Just for a second. There was regret in his eyes, maybe even fear. "You should have never found this," he whispered. "Now, I have to fix it." And before Sarah could react, he grabbed the file, the passport, and the phone. Then he turned, heading for the door. "Daniel," she called after him. "Where are you going?" But he didn't answer. The door slammed shut behind him, leaving Sarah standing in the wreckage of their perfect life. Sarah's hands shook as she stared at the closed door. Daniel was gone, vanished into the night like a ghost. But this time, She wasn't going to let him disappear without answers. Determined, she searched for anything else he might have left behind. His laptop was still on the desk, but it was locked. His phone was missing. But then she remembered the burner phone she had found earlier. With a deep breath, she powered it on. A single message flashed on the screen. "They found you. You need to run. Now." Her stomach dropped. Before she could fully process it, a loud knock at the door made her jump. Not a friendly knock, a forceful, urgent pounding. She hesitated, then slowly approached. "Mrs. Carter?" A deep voice called from the other side. "We need to talk about your husband. Open the door." Heart racing, she peeked through the peephole. Two men in dark suits stood on the porch. Their serious expressions sent a wave of fear through her. "Who are you?" she demanded. "FBI," one of them answered, holding up a badge. "It's about Daniel. You're in danger." Every instinct told her to run, but she needed answers. Slowly, she unlatched the door. "Where is he?" she asked as they stepped inside. The agents exchanged a look before one of them spoke. "Mrs. Carter, your husband isn't who you think he is. His real name is David Langston. He was a key witness in a federal case against one of the most dangerous crime syndicates in the country. He went into witness protection years ago. That's how you met him, under his new identity." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. "He testified against them, but now they've found him, and if they know who he is..." The agent's voice hardened. "That means they know who you are, too." A cold wave of realization crashed over her. Her perfect marriage, her perfect life. It had all been built on a lie, but the real nightmare was just beginning. Sarah felt the room spinning around her. Witness protection? A crime syndicate? The man she had loved for years wasn't just keeping secrets, he had been running for his life. And now, because she had uncovered the truth, she was in danger too. The FBI agents didn't waste time. One of them, Agent Reynolds, pulled the curtains shut while the other, Agent Carter, checked the locks. "We need to move. Now," Reynolds said urgently. "If they found him, it's only a matter of time before they come for you." Sarah shook her head, still struggling to process everything. Who is they? Who's after him? Reynolds' jaw tightened. "A criminal organization your husband, David, helped bring down years ago. The leader, Victor Raines, was arrested because of his testimony. He swore revenge, and last week, Raines was released from prison." Sarah's heart pounded. "And now he's looking for Daniel." Agent Carter nodded grimly. "And if Daniel's been exposed, so have you. They'll use you to get to him." Before she could respond, Sarah's phone buzzed on the table. A text message from an unknown number. "You should have stayed in the dark. Now it's too late. See you soon." Terror gripped her chest. She looked up at the agents. "They know I'm here." Reynolds pulled out his gun. "We have to go. Right now." Sarah grabbed only what she could, her purse, a jacket. No time to think. As they rushed toward the back door, the sound of tires screeching outside made her freeze. Headlights flooded through the windows. They weren't just being watched. They were already here. The headlights cut through the darkness like knives. Shadows moved outside the windows. Sarah's pulse pounded as Agent Reynolds pulled her behind him, gun raised. "Stay low," he ordered. "We don't know how many there are." Agent Carter peered through the blinds. 3 men, armed, coming this way. Sarah's mind raced. Where was Daniel? Did he know they were here? Before she could think further, her phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number. "Step outside, Sarah. We only want him." Her breath hitched. They wanted Daniel, but they were willing to go through her to get to him. Reynolds didn't hesitate. "We're not waiting for them to make the first move. We take the back exit, get to the safe house." But just as he reached for the door, a voice called from outside. "Sarah!" Her heart stopped. Daniel. She turned to the window and saw him standing in the driveway, hands raised. The men had their guns aimed at him. "Let me handle this," Daniel called out, his voice steady. "You don't have to do this." One of the men stepped forward. "Too late for that." Sarah clenched her fists. They had him. They were going to take him, and she couldn't do anything. Then, in a blur of motion, Daniel moved. He lunged at the nearest man, knocking his gun aside just as a shot rang out. The second man turned, aiming at Daniel. Reynolds fired first. A sharp crack echoed as the attacker dropped. Carter was already moving, taking down the last gunman before he could react. The chaos lasted only seconds. Then silence. Sarah's chest heaved as she took in the scene. Daniel stood there, breathing hard, blood on his knuckles. He turned to her, his eyes filled with something between relief and regret. "You should have never found out," he said softly. Sarah swallowed hard. Too late for that. The FBI agents moved in, securing the attackers, but Sarah knew this wasn't over. The men outside were just a warning. The real threat, the one Daniel had been running from, was still out there. And now, so was she. The dust had settled, but Sarah's world was forever changed. The FBI secured the scene, taking the surviving attacker into custody, but everyone knew this wasn't over. Sarah sat on the edge of the motel bed in the safe house they had been rushed to, staring at the wall. The adrenaline was gone, replaced by exhaustion and a deep, gnawing uncertainty. Daniel, or David, as she now knew him, sat across from her silent. The weight of everything between them hung in the air. Finally, he spoke. "You should leave." Sarah's eyes snapped to his. "Excuse me?" "You still have a chance at a normal life," he said, voice heavy with regret. "I should never have dragged you into this. If you walk away now, the FBI can relocate you. You can be safe." She let out a hollow laugh. "Safe? You really think I can just go back to being Sarah Carter, happy wife in the suburbs after all this?" He looked down, hands clasped. "I don't know." Silence stretched between them. Finally, Sarah took a deep breath. "Why didn't you tell me?" His jaw tightened. "Because I knew you'd look at me differently. And because if you knew the truth, you'd be in danger." She studied him, the man she had loved, the man she had trusted, the man she had discovered was a stranger. But was he? Every moment they had shared, every laugh, every touch. Was that all a lie? Or was it real, despite everything? A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Agent Reynolds stepped in. "We've arranged 2 options," he said. "Sarah, you can go into witness protection. Start over. A new name, a new life. You'll be safe." He hesitated before turning to Daniel. "Or you both run together." Sarah's heart pounded. 2 paths. One where she left everything, including Daniel, behind, stepping into a new life alone. Another where she stayed by his side, never knowing when the past would catch up to them again. Daniel met her gaze, eyes filled with something unspoken. "This is your choice," he said. "I won't ask you to stay." Sarah took a shaky breath, staring at the man she had thought she knew, the man she still loved. And then she made her decision.